Hey, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about Patchbays. I have a video that I did a while back on my channel where I show you how I connect everything to my Patchbay, which is sitting right there. This is an old one, it's a bit rusty, I'm not using it, but I have a new Patchbay right there where I have all my samplers connected to the Patchbay. So I showed you how I connect everything, but I never really showed you how I use it, how I actually use it with the MPC and how I work with the Patchbay. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to point the camera to the MPC and you're going to see how I route everything and how I take sounds from other samplers back into my mpcheadz. All right, so that's the video for today. Let's jump into it. All right, so I'll give you just a quick look at my Patchbay. So on the top, I have all my outputs. On the bottom row, I have all my inputs of my gear. You can see in the back, everything's connected right there to the inputs and outputs. So in this case, I want to use, let's say, my analog heat. What I'll do is I'll grab a cable and I'll connect the output of my MPC. So 13 and 14 is the output of my MPC, and that will connect into the input of the analog heat. So that will be 21, 22. I know my cables are a bit long. I should get smaller cables. And then I need to get that signal back from the analog heat into the MPC. So I'll just take the outputs of the heat and plug them in to the inputs of my MPC. So right now I created a patch on my Patchbay where I send the output 3 and 4 of my MPC into the input of my analog heat, and I send the signal back out from the analog heat into the input of my MPC. And this is the input of my MPC, input 3 and 4. Here on the back of the MPC, I have the output 1 and 2 and the output 3 and 4 connected to the Patchbay. So whenever I want to send my signal through the Patchbay to be resampled by other instruments, I'll send it through 3 and 4 and it gets back through input 3 and 4. I leave these two open in case I want to plug in a microphone or something. Right now I'm going to send my signal through output 3 and 4 into the Patchbay, and I'm going to receive it in input 3 and 4. Okay, so we're going to be working with this beat right here. So I want to send this piano sample through my analog heat and back. So how do I send this into the analog heat and back? It's quite simple. I'll just send the output to 3 and 4 in this case. I want to send the entire program. If it was just a sample like a snare, I would go into that little square and I'll say that the pad would go into output 3 and 4. But I want to send the entire program, okay, because there are several chops being played in the sequence. So I'll just send the entire program to output 3 and 4, okay? So right now it's going, you don't hear the piano anymore. Okay, it's going into the analog heat at this point. Okay, and how do I get the signal back? I'll just go, because I have everything routed already in the Patchbay, I just need to go into the sampler and say I want to listen to inputs 3 and 4. And the signal is coming right in. If I click here to monitor the input, I'll hear the sound coming through the analog heat. Okay, so I already tweaked the analog heat a little bit, but you can hear before and after right here. So this is just the sound on the MPC, on the program, and this 3 and 4 is the sound coming out of the analog heat. And of course I can go now into the analog heat and just tweak it until I find a sound that I like, and then I'll print it into the MPC. So just to record is simple. I'll go here to the sampler and I'll just record it. I'll do one thing. I'll hide this and I'll say that I want the sequence to stop the loop. Once the sequence reaches the end, I want it to stop the loop because I just want to hear that fade out at the end. I don't want it to loop back to the beginning. So I'll just stop the loop right there. Go into the sampler. This is the sound of the analog heat. I can just solo this if I want to listen to just the piano. Back into the sampler, record. Okay, that's it. So I'm gonna just name this analog heat print. So that's the name that I'm going to give the recording. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to go into my main, and this track right here, I'm going to actually copy this sequence to a new sequence with the new print. So press do it. Now I have a copy of that same sequence, but right now I'm going to create a new program here. Okay, and this will be the analog do it. Okay, so that's the program. I'm just going to go into the program edit. There it is. That's my recording. Okay, I can zoom in and tweak that. So now I can just record this into the sequence. So right now I have a sequence with the print from the analog heat. This is still being sent into the analog heat, so I'll just take this out. Okay, back to output 1 and 2, and now what you're hearing is the original recording. And on my sequence number 3, I have the sequence with the analog heat print. Let's say I want to get signal from my Rhodes. Actually, my Rhodes is connected to my 404 right there. So the outputs of the 404 are right here, okay? So what I'll do is I'll take these cables. I don't need the analog heat anymore, and I'll just plug it in to my Patchbay right there. That's the output of my SP404. So the sound of the 404 right now is going in to my MPC, okay? So that's the input 3 and 4 of the MPC. So my Rhodes is connected here to the 404, and the outputs of the 404 are going into the Patchbay. So the Patchbay is sending the signal of the 404 into my MPC. And now if I play the Rhodes, you'll be able to hear it. I'm just going to go into the sampler, turn this on. There it is. Of course, I can record it with the effects here of the 404. So far so good. I've sampled through the analog heat, got some samples from the Rhodes. But let's say I want to change the snare. If I want to send the snare to the 404 and just see if I get some crispy sounds from the 404, or maybe on all the drums. So it's easy. I can go into the Patchbay, send the output 3 and 4 from the sampler here from the X into the 404, back in just like how I did with the analog heats. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this was informative, and if you want to see the video on how I connect everything to the Patchbay, the link is in the description. I did it a while back, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you on a coming video. Peace. Bye-bye.